We're joined for the next 20 minutes or maybe longer. He's a very busy man by someone who needs no introduction, Chuck Norris. He was kind enough to come on late last year, and I hadn't bugged him to come back on until I heard this big announcement that he's going to be making a big announcement today in a national simulcast on the radio and on the web. And I wanted to get him on about that and a host of issues. Talk of him being running for president of Texas or president of the U.S. and headlines all over the world news here. Here's one out of the British press where they're talking about, Chuck Norris says that there are secret right-wing cells around the country who aren't going to go along with Obama's socialism. So very, very interesting. Chuck Norris, thank you for coming on.
Oh, you bet, Alex. Well, I don't know about that. I don't remember writing anything about right-wing cells in America, but...
Here's the Examiner. Chuck Norris claims thousands of right-wing cells groups exist and will rebel against U.S. government. So that's what they got, I guess, from your WorldNet Daily story. What did you really say?
Oh, no. The thing is basically what I told you last year is that, we just got to get our country back on the right track again. And basically what I'm saying was about today, with Glenn Beck, who was putting this We Surround Them concept together. And, and nothing about right-wing cells, we're not terrorists, for crying out loud. But the thing is that like I said last year, Alex, is that we have just got to get our country going back like our founding fathers had the vision for us as America, and staying with our traditional values.
Yeah, I think they spun it from your quote here where you said, how much more will Americans take? When will enough be enough? And when that time comes, will our leaders finally listen, or will history need to have a second American revolution? Will we, the people, have the authority, according to the Americans' Declaration of Independence, which states? So I don't know how they spun it into that. I think they spun it because you said we're going to have folks all over the country on this Friday, the 13th, unlucky for the elite. So tell us what's coming up today.
Oh, today Glenn Beck has started a thing called We Surround Them, which means the 9 principles that we America should live by. America is good. I believe in God, and He is the center of my life. I must always be more honest, be a much more honest person than I was yesterday. Things of that sort there, and then the 12 values of honesty, reverence, hope, thrift, so forth and so on. And so really, what Glenn Beck is trying to say today is that the people have got to go back to the values that we had for many, many years, and we're drifting off of that. And I totally agree with him. The thing is, I just don't believe government should plan, provide for, and rule our lives like we're wards of the state. Taxation is what drove us, our founders, away from out of England to come to America in the first place. Is because they were being overtaxed in England, and now we're going right back to the same concept that happened hundreds of years ago back in England. And the thing is, Alex, we've got to get off this train. We've got to get off this train here. We're being taxed to death in this country. And I think all your listeners will agree with me, with the income taxes, the employment taxes, capital gains, estate, corporate, property, Social Security. This is not a liberal issue or a conservative issue. It's an American issue. Because everyone is suffering, whether you're liberal or you're a conservative. Everyone is suffering in our country today. And we have to figure out a solution to overcome, to me, the thing is, Alex, it's not bothering me. I'm basically halfway retired. I've been very blessed to have made the money that I've made to be able to live a comfortable life. But I'm concerned about the young people in America who are looking to the future. And the thing is, the future looks very bleak right now, and we've got to figure out a solution, to this bleakness. And I think and that's why I really believe in a fair tax, Alex. I think I talked to you about it last year.
Sure, let's talk more about that in your new book, Black Belt+Patriotism. When we get back with Glenn Beck. Stay with tonight on Glenn Beck. He's doing it with Chuck Norris. It is Friday the 13th. We have someone who needs no introduction, hundreds of movies, international top TV shows and syndication, best-selling author. Chuck Norris is on with us from his ranch in Texas. Going to be simulcasting a national program today, trying to rediscover the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. And thousands of groups around the country will be meeting in solidarity over their concerns for our nation, is the quote here from our guests, and I have a host of questions I wanted to ask him, but last time he was on, we didn't get into his nationwide group, Kickstart.com, and we didn't spend a lot of time on Black Belt Patriotism either. So, Chuck Norris, please get into that first for us, because it's important information, and I read the book, and I just agree with everything in it.
Well, first of all, you talked about Kickstart. Kickstart's a program where I teach the martial arts in the inner city middle schools. I started this 16 years ago with the support of former President Bush. And the thing is, being a martial art teacher for 15 years before I got into the film world, I taught thousands of young kids, and I was able to help them overcome a lot of insecurities that they had, whether it's emotional, physical, or psychological insecurities. And I thought, well, this is great, but what about the millions of young kids in America whose families don't have the money to bring them to a commercial school like my school? How could we reach these youngsters? And that's why I started Kickstart, is to implement it into the public schools as part of their PE program. And so that's what I've done. I've got 43 schools in the state of Texas, middle schools, and 150 kids in each school, so we have about 6,000 kids in the program. 60,000 kids have graduated from this program, Alex, many of them going on to college and becoming successful on their own right. And they would tell you, if they were talking to you right now, Alex, they would say, if it wasn't for this Kickstart program, they would either probably be in prison or dead today. So the thing is that that's what my mission in life is to reach as many young people and help get them on the right track of life as I possibly can. And so Kickstart means building strong moral character in our youth through the martial arts.
Because isn't most of martial arts, I mean, it's a mental thing, and it's about control and being honorable, isn't it? And this teaches them something they don't get from TV. Go ahead.
The thing is, it turned my life around. I was pretty much an at-risk child, growing up with just a mom and all the insecurities that I had because I didn't have a male role model to help me get on the right path of life. So I grew up very insecure and very shy and very non-athletic. A lot of people kind of laugh at that, but it's true. And the martial arts really turned my whole life around. It gave me that inner strength that I needed, and that positive strength to be able to pursue the goals that I've accomplished today. Truthfully, if it hadn't been for the martial arts, I don't know where I would be today, because I wouldn't have gotten that strength to overcome the obstacles that I had to face throughout my life.
And you condense a lot of what you've learned throughout life: health, patriotism, Bill of Rights, Constitution. I published a book called Descent into Tyranny in 2002, and I ended it with the Bill of Rights and Constitution. And I just love seeing that that's how your book ended, because, I mean, I guess, our brains think alike. That's what people need to get back to.
Oh, I tell you, that's true, Alex. The thing is, that's why I put it in there. A lot of people don't know what's in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence, and they really need to shore up on what is going on. And I'd like to get back to this fair tax concept just for a moment.
Oh, sure.
Because what most people don't realize is that we have over 3 million manufacturing jobs being outsourced to other countries. And why are they being outsourced? Because the taxes are draining them, and they can't make a go of it here in America with the taxation system we have. And there's over $17 trillion being hidden in offshore accounts by the super rich, probably more now because of what's going on. But the thing is, if we had a fair tax, Alex, we get all that money could come back into our economy and give our economy a huge boost.
What type of
manufacturing jobs could come back?
What type of fair tax do you like, Chuck Norris?
A consumption tax. I believe, if you can afford to buy something, you buy it. If you can't afford it, you wait till you have the money
a sales tax.
to buy it.
A sales tax?
Consumption tax, yeah.
I would be for that, sir, but I saw UN documents a decade ago. The problem is what they're going to do is, and I do support one, they're not going to really get rid of the income tax. They're going to try to call it your Social Security tax and claim it's only 10% and then jack it up and try to run them all at the same time. I mean, I do agree that that's a constitutional tax, and the income tax is not constitutional. Can you speak to the income tax? 500,000 pages, nobody can follow it. Should that be abolished?
66,298 pages, Alex. I mean, who in the world knows what's in that? Charlie Rangel doesn't know, and I mean, Tom Geithner. I mean, look at the people that are in government today who were basically tax evaders. The government says they made mistakes, but if we do it, we're tax evaders. We go to jail. But the thing is that the IRS. was only became constitutional in 1913. A lot of people don't realize this, that the IRS was unconstitutional until 1913, when the government, when the Congress made an amendment, constitutional amendment, the 16th Amendment, to make it constitutional, and we've been going downhill ever since that time.
Well, yeah, the private Federal Reserve controls that, and I'm sure you've noticed you write your tax checks to the private Federal Reserve. It's never been audited. Ron Paul's introduced a bill to audit the Federal Reserve. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The IRS is a Gestapo. You're guilty until proven innocent. That's only one where you're guilty until proven innocent, rather than innocent until proven guilty. And that's not fair. That's not right here in our country. And we're a country of freedom, and we need to do that.